and welcome to Developers 10 by Newton School. I'm Shubham Kumar. I'm a front-end developer and today I'm going to start a very interesting project which might add a lot of value to your resume if you build along with me. So it's an NFT landing page. You must have seen the thumbnail and we are going to build exactly that particular NFT landing page. Here you are going to learn a lot of principles of CSS, good programming, building beautiful UI and using good illustrations in your project. So stay along with me and code along with me because I'm going to build the entire project on this YouTube channel. So make sure you have liked this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe it. And a big thanks to Newton School for helping me make this video. Newton School is a platform where you can learn full stack development. They have an course ongoing where you can enroll and they promise you that you get a job of minimum 5 lakh rupees if you enroll with them. And the best part, you don't have to pay even a single penny until and unless you get a job. So let's get started with a quick demo of what we're going to build in this particular series, and then we'll start with the coding part. So let's get started with a quick demo of what we are building. So as you can see on my screen, this project is hosted on my localhost 3000. I'm running it locally. As you can see, this is the landing page. I'll quickly shift this here. And you can see these are some great GIFs that we have. We have downloaded these from the internet. Credit goes to the creator only. And then we have this landing page hero section where we are showing a particular title, some description, few buttons, some random stats. All these are mock data. In general, when you are building a landing page for a company, you'll get these data from the backend. But since we don't have a backend, we are just building the front end part. We are getting these data. We are writing this data, just rubbish, or you can say any data that comes to my mind. Then these are just some companies that the NFTs are generally integrated with. Then we have this carousel section where we are showing all the trending NFTs, and this is scrolling by default, and you can scroll it manually as well. Then we have this create your and sell your NFT section where we are just showing some instruction to the user. And then finally, we have this footer where I'm showing that made with Fire by Shubham at Developers 10. So if you want to build this particular NFT page, make sure that you follow along whatever code I'm writing and rewatch any part where you don't understand that any particular concept. And you can ask me in the comments as well. I'll reply you for sure. So this is it. Let's get started by building this. And if I promise you that if you build this particular project and add it to your resume, this will create a great impact on the interviewer or whoever is looking at your resume. So let's open our terminal very quickly. I'll increase the size so that you can see what's on my screen. I'll go to my desktop where I'm going to create this particular project, and I'll say npx create react app, and I'll call this as dev NFT, right? Dev NFT. So this will take some time to create a template for me. Here I'm using create react app. So if you don't know what create react app is, it's an npm package which creates a basic template for you to start developing in React applications, right? Behind the hood, it uses Webpack to bundle everything. And if you don't know what Webpack is and how it is working, I'll be bringing up a new series on my channel where I'll be teaching you what Webpack is, how it works behind the hood and everything. So, and this is done. So as you can see that I have a folder here, dev NFT, which I'm going to open in my VS Code here. And so by default, you get some templates for you to code along in React. So you can open your terminal in VS Code. I'm using VS Code editor. You can use any development environment that you want. There is no restriction, but I personally prefer using VS Code because of the ease of use and all the extensions that we have here. So this is the kind of interface that you get, and these are some of the files that you get along with the main files in create react app. So you can delete these files if it's not required. What I'll do is, so to see if it is actually running or not, you can just say npm start, and while this is being done, I'll just increase the size of my VS Code editor so that you can see whatever I'm typing on my screen. So I'm already using the port 3000, so I'm going to use port 3001. I'm using port 3000 for the already developed project. As you can see, if you see this spinning React logo on your screen, this means that your project is set up and it's running. So what we will do now is we'll create the folder structure for our components. So let's analyze how we are going to build this particular website. So whenever you get a Figma design or whenever you see a website and you want to develop that in React, make sure that you break them into components because React is all about components. So the first thing that I see here is a header. Then I see this top fold section. Many people call it hero section as well, or you can call it anything. Just make sure that you are segregating everything into components. Now here I'm seeing that this is a top fold section. Then next to the top fold, we have some brand integration. And finally, we have trending NFT section. And at last, sorry, not finally, then we have this Last, we have this create and seller NFT. We can call this as info section because this is giving us some information about how we can create and sell NFTs. And finally, we have a footer. So basically, we have total 6 sections: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we will go, and here we will create a file folder called components. And inside the components, we are going to create all of these folders, 6 folders. So this is the coding structure that I'm going to follow. If you want to follow a different coding structure, you can follow that, but make sure you are following the principles of clean code and you're writing code which is understandable by other developers as well, because then only you are going to learn a lot. You're going to build scalable projects and other developers might also understand your code. Because suppose from 3 months from now onward, if you want to see your code, you won't understand even a thing if you won't write clean code. So inside my components, I'll write the first thing, that is header. So this is the naming convention that I follow. I create a folder with the capital name, and then inside that I create a file called index.js, which acts as the entry point for this particular file. I'll close this a little, and this is my headers index file. I'll say RAFCE, so which is React arrow function component export. So I'm using ReactJS snippets. I'm using ReactJS snippets here, as you can see, this particular extension, which is now, this gives me, not this one, so this gives me some pre-written templates by just writing some keywords. So as you just saw, I wrote RAFCE and I got this particular template. So I'll name this as header. Also make sure that for React components, you are keeping the naming convention like this only. First letter should always be capital. Now inside my files, I'll also create a CSS file, and that will be in small case header.css, and I will import this particular header CSS file inside this. So like this, header.css. So what this will do is, this will keep my CSS only to the particular component where I need. I don't write a common CSS file at the top of my components and then use it everywhere. I keep it like this, so all my logic and styling is isolated from each other. So this is it. Now my header is created. Apart from header, we also need a top fold section. So I'll say top fold, which is going to be right here. So I'll say this is top fold. Top fold will follow the same structure. There will be an index.js file. I'll say RAFCE. This is top fold. And next to top fold, I'll also create a style file inside this, which will be top fold.css. I'll import this CSS file here. Import, I'll say top fold.css, and I'll give it some spacing here. Next to top fold, I need a trending section. So for trending section, I will say, but sorry, next to top fold, I have this brand integration. So I'll say brands integration. So for this, I have just one index file, index.js, which will be RAFCE. Here it is brands integration. Now we have a file for brands integration. Just make sure that you are closing the div and remove this particular. Okay, perfect. Now it's working. Similarly, I'll need a CSS file for brand integration as well. So I'll say brands integration.css. Now I could have written everything inside just one component, but it's better to make it as modular as you can, so that you can reuse this particular component wherever needed. This is a small project, but suppose tomorrow you are building a really large scale project. There you might need this kind of coding structure. So my brands integration is done. Then we have trending NFT section. So I'll say trending NFTs, and inside this again I'll create 2 files. First will be index.js RAFCE, which will be trending NFTs. I'll keep this small, trending NFTs, and finally trending NFTs. Okay, make sure that the name for export and the component is same, otherwise this will give an error. Here I'll also create a CSS file, trending nfts.css. I'll import this particular file here. So I'll say import trending, not T capital, import trending nfts.css. Now this is the trending NFT section, and finally we have 2 more sections. First is info section, and the last one is info section. And inside the info section we have index.js file, RAFCE. This is info section. info section, and done. We'll create a CSS file for this as well, which will be info section dot css. Now, why I'm creating all the empty files first? Because then only it will be just going inside each of the file and just changing that particular file. So the development will be very faster once all this setup is done. So now I'll import this info section inside my index file. So I'll say import info section dot css, and perfect. Now last we have footer. So footer is just one line, but for that as well I'm creating a separate component, and you should also be doing this only in your React application. So for this I'll say footer, and just two more files, index.js and footer dot css. I'll just import this style file here, RAFCE. This is our footer, and I'll say import footer dot css. Perfect. Now this is all the components that we need in our file. But along with this, if you see, this is the font size that here we are using is not normal font size, it is Poppins. So Poppins I'm using from Google Fonts. So just go to Google Fonts. Here you can find thousands and hundreds of fonts which are free and open source. You can use these in your project. So I'll be using a very common font called Poppins. I like this particular font. If you want, you can use any other, whatever you feel like. Experiment with fonts, find the perfect font that suits your application. So I'll be using fonts from the weight of 400, regular, medium, and then semi-bold, and finally bold. So these are all the fonts that I'm going to use. So I'll just do this, and then okay, if I want to use it, I can just go to specimen, and all these fonts are added. Now I just have to use it. So I'll say download family. Okay, it's downloading the file, but we don't want to download it. So what we will do is we will go here and we will copy the fonts from here. Okay, they have changed their, so actually they have changed their interface. Earlier there was just one line here to use it. So all these are added. Now what I can do is about a license. Where should I get the code for this? I'm not getting the code actually. So what we can do is download family. Yeah, okay. So from here, if we'll just click this particular button, view selected families, and from here, I'll just remove this. So this is the Poppin style that you have to use. So I'll use this method, import method, and I'll copy this import file from here. I'll copy this and I will paste it inside my, let's say, index.css. So this will import my Poppins font for my entire file, right? You can see here. And now I'll remove this particular default font that we get in the CRA, Create React tab, and I'll replace it with this particular line. So here, if I paste it, you can see my font family is now Poppins. So this is all that we have to do with the index.css file. Now I'll come to my app.css file. I'll remove everything and I'll save it. Now inside my app.js file, I'll again remove everything. I'll say RAFCE. This is my app, and I'll also import my app styles. So I'll say import app app.css. So perfect. Now if I'll go here in my React app, I'll see that there is just this app. So what I'll do, I'll quickly import all my files that I'm going to use. So all the components that I'm going to use. The first component is obviously our header. The next component is our top fold. So this is top fold. The next component, so again to show you on the website, this is our header. This section is the top fold. I'll close this. This section is brands integration. This is trending NFTs. And finally, we have info section followed by the footer. So next to the top fold, we will say brands integration. Next to the brands integration, we will have trending NFTs. So trending NFTs. And next to the trending NFT, we have info section. Finally, it is followed by the footer. So make sure that you are importing the footer component and not just the default tag of the HTML. So this is how my application should look like this. Top fold CSS does not match. Okay, so inside our top fold CSS, there is some error. So F should be capital. Now, if you'll see header, top fold, brands integration, trending NFT, info section, and footer. So all of these things are done. Now what I'll go to my app.css file, and I'll declare something. So for my all board, so what we will be doing here is now in my entire application, I'm going to reuse some of the classes again and again, such as if you'll see this div is in the center of the outer div. So for these component, I can create a class known as absolute center, and I can reuse the CSS lines again and again. This will make me code faster. So what I will do is, next to my components folder, I'll create a folder known as common. So what I'll do is components inside my source, I'll say this is my common folder, and inside the common, I will say that this is my styles folder. And inside my styles folder, I'll create two files. The first file will be common classes dot css. Now this particular class is going to store all the common classes that I'm going to use in throughout my code base. So first class that I'm going to use is absolute center. So now what absolute center does is it centers everything inside a div. You must have heard of the joke that how hard is it for a developer to center a particular div or a component. So we are going to use this particular class everywhere. So I'll say display flex, justify content center, and align items as center. So throughout my code base, I'm going to use flex box property a lot. So if you're not comfortable with flexbox, I highly recommend that you go and learn what flexbox is and why is it used. You're going to thank me, because with flexbox you can create dynamic, responsive, whatever kind of layout you want. So make sure that you learn this. Next to our flexbox, I'm going to, so as you can see on my website, there is some gap here and here. So I'm using a max width property for my entire application. So the next class that I have is max width. So what I'm going to say that the maximum width of my entire application should be 80%. So 80% width and margin auto. Now what margin auto will do, it will center everything. Now for margin auto, automatically it will take equal margin on left and right side. So this is why I'm using margin auto. So apart from this, I'm going to use one more class right now, which is cursor pointer. So cursor pointer. So many of the items in this particular component is clickable. So for that, we need a particular CSS class known as cursor pointer. So I'll just say cursor as pointer. That's it. This is the file for my common classes. Now, along with the common classes, you might be seeing that I'm using a lot of colors on this particular website. So for all those colors, it is better that you declare all those colors inside a variable file. Now, why you should declare everything inside a variable file? Because suppose tomorrow you want to change your UI, suppose tomorrow you want to change your background color, you just have to change one particular file and the changes will be reflected throughout your application. So for that, what I'll do, for my root, the first color that I'm going to use is background. So background is just plain black color that I'm using. So for black color, the hex code is 6 times 0. That's it. This is the background that I'm using. And again, I'll declare a color called white. So white is going to be 6 times F, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. This is the white color that I'm using. And we will declare all the other colors as we go along coding this entire application. So we'll save this. Now, in order to use these two files inside throughout my application, I have to import these. So I'll go to my app.css, and here what I'll do, I'll use the CSS convention import URL. I'll go to back file common, and inside my common styles, common classes. Now with this line, all my common classes will be imported inside the app.css file. And since app is wrapping everything inside my code base, all the components are wrapped inside my app, these classes will be accessible by all the components. Now similarly, I'll say import URL, I'll say common styles variables. Now you must have skipped all these steps and you can directly use the variable hashes in your code base, but I'm telling you how to make scalable project, how to clean code. Therefore, I'm creating all these files. So now for my all the body, I'll say background color is going to be where background. And similarly, now if my background color is going to be black, I won't be able to see any text here. So for the text, I will say the color for my entire application will be white. Now I could have used white directly here, but it's better to use a variable. Now this is working perfectly. Now what we have to do is right now, we have to just go to the first thing, that is our header, and start creating our application. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope you have your project set up right now and we are ready to start creating our application. So we will create the header and top fold section in the next video, and then In the subsequent videos, we'll complete this entire project. I hope you learned something. And if you are enjoying this particular series, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't liked this video, do like it. And again, a big thanks to Nutanix School. See you in the next video. Bye.